So finally, this is happening. So I get to ask questions to my former boss. That's a nice thing to start off with. Hello, everyone. Super excited today to have someone I truly admire. One of the most respected names in product management ecosystem in India, with over 20 years of experience building products for Indian consumers. He's the foundational product manager behind some of India's most well-known product success stories, helping them scale, build from ground up. So please welcome the very, very awesome Lijo Isac. Lijo is currently the Global Chief Product Officer at Vadvani Foundation, a nonprofit that operates in 20 plus countries, where he's leading product management for social impact through AI-centric products. He's one of the earliest product leaders in India and have worked across marquee names in sectors such as e-commerce, fintech, health tech, edtech. In very well-known names, there are companies like Paytm Money, Practo, BYJU'S, HomeShop18, where he held leadership roles. The first ever acquisition of Flipkart as a startup, where he was the head of product management way back in 2010 in HomeShop. So HomeShop18 was an acquisition of Flipkart. Beyond his...
No, that's not correct, Shravan. It was another company. HomeShop18 was acquired by Reliance.
Makes sense.
Okay.
Sorry. Very, very cool. Very, very cool. Apologies for that, Lijo. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Beyond his corporate journey, he's also an active angel investor. As someone who has reported to him, I can vouch he has a participative leadership philosophy, which is deeply rooted in first principles thinking, balancing data, insights, and human intuition to build products that consumers value. Lijo, it's an absolute honor to have you here. We are looking forward to this conversation and learning from your experience. Your ability to scale products, lead through uncertainty, is something that has always admired me, and I deeply admire today also. And I think everybody will derive value from it. Thank you very much for joining in.
Yeah, it's a pleasure, Shravan. Very happy to see so many product managers out here. You know, when I started my career in product management, at that time, I had to explain to people what is product management and how it is different from project management. That time, project managers were the in thing in a lot of companies. So very happy to see the growth out here over so many years or the recent years, and happy to contribute in whatever way I can from my experience as well as whatever.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, Lijo, I'll quickly start with the first pivotal question, and I think it's a story everybody would want to know, right? Which is, you've built products across fintech, edtech, and e-commerce. How did your first break into product management happen, and what made you stay across so many years in the same field?
Yeah, so I passed out of my engineering college and landed in a IT company. Worked there for 2 years and found it pretty boring. Then I went for MBA, did it from FMS Delhi, and I understood that I want to do something which is a mixture of both technology and consumer behavior. At that time, the roles that were out there in the market in B schools were mostly in FMCG, consulting, and traditional sectors and IT companies. So again, I went to an IT company, but that was in a role where I was helping, clients to incubate products. And I understood that this is something that I really liked. And one thing that I was conscious and found very boring was that if your life is predictable, if you know what is going to happen throughout the day, then there is no excitement. So I want to have a job profile where there will be a little bit of unpredictability, a little bit of chaos and excitement, and there will be some push to unknown. That is how I landed in a product management role. So this role came in IAM groups, and when I called the consultant, people said that the consultant told that, I'm still in touch with her. The consultant told that there are very few applicants for this role. So, and they're looking for people with 20 years of experience. That is way back in 2006, 2007. Wow. So I said, there is no way by which you're going to get people with 20 years of experience. You need to somehow ensure that I get an interview with this firm. And that firm was Rediff.com. And I had the first round I flew from Delhi to Mumbai. I had the first round of interview with a set of leaders in Rediff, which went well. Then the second round of interview, they gave me a case study. I had to go back and present to Ajit Balakrishnan a new concept that that they had given at that point of time. I still have that presentation, and now when I look at it, I feel that it is all very basic. So I did the presentation, landed the offer, said Tata bye bye to Delhi, and came to Mumbai and worked there for 3 years. So I was lucky to get into product management, so early in the product management ecosystem in India. At that time, we had few product managers in Yahoo and Rediff, and none of the other companies were hiring. Obviously, they were like product managers in IT services companies, but most of the product managers were doing like backlog work. So thankfully, I could create that product, and we had like something like 15-20 million users in India, overall internet users at that point of time. That product reached 4 million users. It was there on Rediff homepage. I learned a lot when that product was there, but then I shifted to Bangalore, and I've been in startups ever since. That has been the story. The first brick came in Rediff. Thankfully it came through Ajit Balakrishnan and a lot of stellar leaders. It helped to create my product thought process, I would say. It helped me to start questioning everything with why.
Makes sense.
Why it is happening like this. And it created a foundation of my career.
Makes sense. Lijo, what made you stay? That second part of the question. What made you stay? Like, does it still feel that exciting after doing it for 20 years?
Yeah, it's 18 years. So first of all, the product management career is very lonely. I mean, when we started, it was extremely lonely. There were like a set of 3-4 product managers. In Rediff, we used to look at each other, wondering what we were doing. But it is still very exciting. As I was telling you in the initial part, my fear is always that life is very predictable and boring. Thankfully, in product management career, it is never predictable and boring. When you when you open your computer in the morning, you don't know what is going to happen today. Yeah. I love that kind of excitement which is out there. Now, the question is that whether you want to play the test match or 2020 match. So you make a conscious decision that if you want to do a 2020 match and you really enjoy doing it and you're happy about it, then you should continue doing it.
Makes sense. That's such a powerful answer from thinking from a... So I always say this thing, and I've told this to my students, and this is something that Peter Thiel said a long time back, that people's life are kind of broken into short term, medium term, and long term. Short term is typically what I like doing today. When I go to office, do I really like my manager? Do I really like the job that I'm doing? And then there is medium term. Do I get the next hike, the next promotion? And then there is long term. Oh, in the next 10 years, I want to become like the CPO of a global... And you are probably the testament of that journey. So most people anchor a lot on medium term. But the really good operators, they look at short term and long term very meaningfully. And they say, am I happy today? And am I doing what really will make me happy 10 years down the line? I think you have done very similar over there. So I think the next question that I would want to ask you is, so one of the journeys that you've done is at Paytm Money, right? You built it from scratch to multi-million plus users and overtook even Zerodha in mutual funds, as per newspaper reports. What was the biggest bets that helped you drive this kind? And these are like large decisions. These are not small decisions affecting like few thousand users, right? It is affecting millions of users. What was your leadership type or decision-making type at that scale?
So Paytm Money was a very stellar experience. We had a fantastic team, which was a part of the initial journey of Paytm Money. We started it from... we sat around the table and created the first mockup. I still remember it. Praveen, Sarvendu, and a few other team members who were out there. So when we started Paytm Money, the idea obviously was to create a wealth management product for Paytm. But being from Paytm in itself would not differentiate the product in the market. So what we focused on initially is to ensure that the onboarding and the KYC for the customers are extremely easy. So any of the fintech product managers out here, how difficult it is. So at that time when we started, this was only 7 years back in 2017. So the process was extremely, I would say, slow. And typically, if you want to open and start a mutual fund investment, it used to take almost like 1 to 2 days. So we made that process extremely easy. First, we brought it down to 24 hours, and then we brought it down to maybe 30 minutes. Everything through a very super simple system, which we created on our own with a very small team. This helped to ensure that a lot more customers are coming in, and then it's about the overall product experience itself. So people used to enjoy the experience of logging in and checking their portfolio and see how it was performing. The portfolio page is the page where most of the fintech apps will have maximum traffic.
Wow.
So we tried to actually maximize on what was working, and we tried to ensure that the users are having a good experience, even including solving customer problems. So the product managers who were working with me were responsible for looking at the customer pain points in their areas, looking at the customer service issues, and ensuring that that is being fixed. So we had like an amazing customer focus at that point of time, which helped us to ensure that it grew really fast. It was more of word of mouth as well. So being a part of Paytm obviously helped. People try, but it's not that every time people try, they will stick with the product. You need to ensure as a product manager that you are happy about the experience and the customers are also happy about the experience.
Absolutely.
So the overall product experience is what helped us in the growth of that product without any push in marketing. So we didn't do any TV advertisements or any kind of outbound marketing programs till for at least for 2 years.
I think that's what great products really do, Lijo. Like, obviously, you would know it better, that they just have such a high virality coefficient that people just become popular by themselves.
Right.
Excuse me.
It's also that...
So, Lijo, you can unmute yourself. Sorry. I think there was some noise coming from somebody. You can unmute and please. Yes.
Okay, so creating great products is like creating great products is like being part of a winning sports team.
Yeah.
So if you bond together, everybody is striving towards the same kind of outcome, then the kind of excitement that you get from that is like immense. So each of the products that has become successful in India or anywhere in the world, it's a work of a team that is working around it. It's not the work of a single product manager. So every out there, from the designer to engineer to the customer support executive to the senior stakeholder or business leader, they will have to play their part in the best way possible.
Makes
so
sense.
In the Paytm Money,
a very quick question on this, and this will be like, so at some point in your career, I think some of India's very well-known PMs have reported to me. Wink, wink. I'm one of them, right? Makes sense. So, but what is your approach to identifying like good talent and nurturing world-class talent? Because it comes from the same fact, like you rightly said, that a great product is a culmination of like very good brains put together in a setting where they're looking about that one goal that they want to achieve and they keep improving it. How do you identify rock stars in like product management or in general thinking paradigms in life?
So there are multiple ways. So one of the things that I look in PM resumes is whether they have worked with customers or not. Now most of the PM resumes come in a set format with impact numbers, things bolded, X person hike because I did this feature. It's very easy for people to, make it out. Now, the question that you need to ask is that whether this person has worked with customers, and whether in his resume there are some evidence for customer empathy, based on product insights, based on customer interviews and product insights. Are there any improvements that have happened? So that's one part. Second, I also look at evidence for cross-team collaboration, because that is like really significant when you are starting as a junior product manager or even a senior product manager, and then the other things would fall into place. You will see examples of some execution capabilities, examples of some good emotional intelligence, etc. And then you get them in the team, and then you start training them. So you start training them, and what I tell, I'm sure that Shravan, you will remember. I tell all my PMs for the past 10 years, whoever was work with me would remember that you make your problem their problem. Whenever a stakeholder is, discussing with them. So basically, what it means is to not make the problem. What it basically means is that if you're seeing problem in a certain way, you need to really think why the stakeholder is not seeing the same problem in the same way.
Absolutely. Yes.
So whether as a team, everybody will see the problem in the same way. So there is no point in you scoring a goal and your team getting defeated in the match, right? So Shravan, I'm sure that you will remember that.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Lijo, I want to ask like a very interesting question because most of our audience has some years of experience, as I was telling you, 10 years, 15 years. They are somewhere in mid leadership kind of a roles in life.
Yeah.
There are some, I want to ask one very interesting question. And I think this
Yeah.
is something that I want to clarify. How much
Yeah.
do really people skills play a really good role in product leadership positions versus execution capability? Does it become more team centric and leadership driven, and how you handle team dynamics and culture at like senior levels at a CPO or a VP or an SVP level, and how much it is like heavily bent on deep execution abilities of the person? So is there a difference in philosophy that happens when you go into leadership roles in product?
Uh, yes and no. Execution abilities are really essential in the junior levels because
Yes,
that will ensure that you are progressing up the ladder.
absolutely.
You won't be in a position to impact strategy or the direction in which the product is going, but you will be able to impact how your feature is performed. But as you reach senior levels, obviously execution capabilities take a slight backseat, but it's more of strategy and all the other things that will come into play. So as you go into senior level, the stakeholder management become extremely important. Ensuring that you are giving clarity on what is happening within the company to everybody involved is a humongous task. Especially if you're working in a really fast growing startup where things change every day. I'm sure that there'll be a lot of product managers like that.
100%.
There'll be a lot of learning, but ensuring that everybody is going in the same direction is an extremely difficult task when you are at a senior level. And that is an added responsibility that you have as a senior leader whenever you reach that level.
So does it mean that you become from a Virat Kohli to a coach like some Pep Guardiola, or is it like a transition from a batsman to a coach that happens as you grow across leadership levels?
I would, yeah, more or less like that is what I would say.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah.
So, Lijo, the next thing I want to ask you is a very good question. What is the impact of culture in the growth of product or growth mindset or the growth of a company? Like this is one question that people don't pay a lot of emphasis on because compensation, title, and these things are pretty evident, right? But the people that you work with, right, and culture, how much does it have a role to play? Because you said that the first starting of your career was that you were fortunate to have good leaders around you who shaped you as a person. So is
Yeah.
the so my question in a very simple manner is culture a really important factor that you should give into account, and in comparison to if somebody has to make towards a choice between compensation and culture, right, how does that person kind of shape that across? Yes.
Okay, uh, let's take a step backward. I've been really curious about how people choose their jobs. Okay.
Yes.
Uh, so I've been curious about it. Whenever I have made my choices, I've been curious, and I actually write what will happen like 2-3 years down the line. So obviously there are roles where it happened as per my expectations, and where there are roles where it happened above or below my expectations. But what I've realized is that people choose a job based on prestige, which is about working for a big company or compensation or a set of factors like that, or impact. They are really driven by the mission of the company. They really like the problem that is being solved, etc. Or relationships. They already know somebody out there. Somebody recommended from this role, recommended them for this role, and then they move forward accordingly. So one of the things that I realized is that, like the way we product managers, most of us say about technical debt, there is something known as culture debt. So whenever a company grows, you tend to take a lot of people out in the company because of some short-term goal which is out there, and this culture debt will make or break the company. I've seen it happening in startups where I have worked as well. There have been leadership changes where a startup team full of energy and passion working on a problem, making it say number one product in India. Then the product became really big. Then people who have been solving that problem for like double-digit number of years come and start working on the same problem. Everybody in the startup team leaves, and the product which was there number one in India went out of top 10.
Yes.
I've seen this happening multiple times. So what I would say is that you should be aware of this, cultural debt that is getting created within your company. You will see it in the decisions that are being made within the company. So things like, how are we taking that decision? Is it a customer first decision, or is it being pushed down because of whatever that is being asked? Or is this decision being taken with enough analysis and prudence, or it is being taken just in a hurried way? You will see the examples of this all throughout. So as a product manager, I'm sure that like you have product vision, you will have a career vision as well. So when these kinds of decisions happen within the company, you are the best jet to decide whether it's the right culture to work, or even if you're going to another company, you can actually speak to the people out there and decide whether this is a culture where I want to be part of. For example, yesterday, one of the product managers who used to report to me like 5 years back wrote me a message saying that I joined this company. It's a very well-known company. Everybody in India knows that company, but I am not able to adjust to this company. It's extremely difficult for me to adjust to this culture. Can you suggest what I should do? Yeah. So culture should be the number one parameter whenever you are choosing any role, and you have to evaluate what is happening within your current company as well, and then decide how you have to take your career forward. That is what I would say.
Makes sense. So I keep saying this, like culture is like marriage, right? You have to spend 8 hours every day with the same person, same team every day, and then you have to realize that do you really go there? And it is somehow underrooted, and I can totally understand that why people initially don't give importance to it, because there are other precedents in life that they want to solve for. But yeah, I'm so glad that coming from a seasoned leader like you, this is something that I wanted all of my students to kind of understand. Now, one question, Lijo, I have. This is this thing. So everybody, product management became popular 10 years, right? Even Shravan became a product manager. Lijo was always a product manager. So this became like a huge thing. What is happening with AI today? What is happening? Are we going to kill this role? Will I be out of a job teaching product management? Will Lijo be looking for jobs outside in the next 10 years? Or there is some other silver lining that people are not aware of, which I want you to kind of put across. Yes.
See, I've been thinking about it a lot. Okay, so I'm not saying that Meto Bechke, all of you are remaining. I'm just going to give you the fact. So if you look at it, AI is going to reshape product management, but product management will remain. But the flavor of product management will be very different. Let's look at some of the practical aspects of the life of a product manager. So you are actually doing a discussion between engineering and design. As a product manager, you do a little bit of social engineering whenever there is some there are some heated discussions, passionate discussions, etc. Now, in that scenario, what is AI going to do? Right. So you are actually creating a prototype of a product. It's not fully done. You are showing it to engineering team. And the engineering team is actually telling you, which is a response that you often hear, this is such a huge effort, we won't be able to build it at all. Yes. Right? In that point, what is AI going to do? So what I'm trying to say is that things like customer empathy, social engineering, and most of the software aspects, it's very hard for those aspects to be replaced with AI. So the product managers will remain, but AI will. But the skills that are required are going to change considerably. Okay, so people who are more in the customer empathy part, understanding insights based on interviews, ensuring that there are alignment with stakeholders, etc. These people would thrive, while the people who are focusing more on the delivery part, ensuring that the PRDs are perfect, etc. They will find it difficult as we move forward. So what I'm trying to say is that AI won't kill product management, but the kind of the product management or the flavor of product management is going to change. Okay, and lastly, the question is that if you are working on a product, the product is not coming out as expected, who will take the accountability? Is it going to be the product manager, or is it going to be
Makes sense.
you know?
Makes sense.
So all these things are out there, and anybody who is having sleepless nights because of AI coming in and taking away all your jobs, you should think about real world scenarios where you are taking the decision, and you should think, what will AI do in this case?
Makes sense.
And they take a prudent decision.
Makes sense. I think this is a very nice word. So there is this very famous quote where he says an ounce of prudence is greater than a pound of knowledge. Right. So that is such a
also one more thing, Shravan. Most of the product managers are looking at AI as a tool to automate their product work.
Yes.
Which I don't think may be the right use of AI.
Absolutely. I think
it's more. I mean, people are actually putting it like replacing AI with some kind of tool that has been created for some kind of use case. 100%. But I believe that AI is one of the best. One second. AI is one of the best options out there to widen your thinking horizons.
That is correct. It's a very good way to discover new things. AI for discovery, I think, will rapidly thrive in the future, because that's why people are moving towards reasoning models more and more, right? Lijo, one quick question, because in the interest of time, I want people to also ask questions. What is your day-to-day like, the head of a product vertical in a large organization? How is it different than any senior product manager or a product manager? What type of decisions do you make day in the life of a CPO? That's what I want to do. Yes.
Yeah. So I have been a remote CPO. Yes. I worked on remote roles since 2020, other than brief periods when, I worked, in offices. So I had the opportunity to launch the stockbroking and mutual fund platform of Paytm working remotely. I had the opportunity to work on, the largest COVID product in BYJU'S. We were also working remotely.
Yes, that is correct.
Money Foundation is also a remote role. We operate in 20 countries. We run multiple programs for entrepreneurship skilling and government offices all across the world, focusing on India as well. So the day starts with a daily meeting, with the team that is currently working in the product function. Then there are meetings with other stakeholders. So it's like the core, then the next set of leaders. Then in the afternoon, there are more decision, and there are some focus group discussions as well as focus work where I want to work on specific problems, thinking about it. And in the evenings, yesterday in the evening, we had a call with the Brazil team. So that's the way it is. But this was what happened yesterday, but every day is really different. We have our weekly reviews with CXOs. We have our weekly reviews with presidents where the CPOs and all the other people out there in the rooms are being asked really tough questions. That is the life of a CPO. There is stress, but it is very enjoyable as long as you're happy about what you're doing. So it's pretty enjoyable.
Makes sense. Lijo, just for you to know, there's a senior PM from the Vadvani Foundation sitting in the audience. So it is Ram. I was telling you, that person. The Ram is in the call. Ram K. He recently joined. Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think he is working on the AI-centric products.
Yes.
So we are very excited. So the thing about thinking that I told you, we are very excited on how we are actually using AI within our product.
Yeah.
So we have a program. We have a course where we ask people to come up with ideas to create their own, startups. And in Philippines, a lot of people used to enter, I want to enter a bakery. So that's used to be their idea. So now we have created some kind of AI assistants and things like that, where the AI assistant asks them, why are you starting a bakery? Why don't you think about creating a franchisee of bakeries and things like that? That's what I mean when I say that, you can actually think big if you know how to actually use AI properly.
So my question is, in the world full of multiple problems, each and every corner, how will I decide my niche? Like what sector I should work upon? Because I can see that problem is with agriculture also, health also, education also, tech also. There are so many sectors where we have problems and where we can work. But how will I find my niche? My question is this.
You ask a very deep philosophical question.
Yeah.
You just ask, how do I figure out my purpose in
Yeah.
life?
So Deepshika, first of all, I have used isotope, but a long time back. I think in 2018. I mean, some time back. I'm familiar about the product. When it was being launched, we believe that we were one of the first customers at Practo, I believe, where we used that. See, it's not only about the problem, right? There are like other parameters also while you make the decision. The team that you're working with, the kind of scope that you will be having, etc., etc. You should actually go for a problem, whatever will make you happy.
Okay.
So obviously you can't solve all the problems. You will be spreading yourself too thin, and you won't be able to, get enough satisfaction. So what I would say is that you will have to find out what would be exciting for you as a product management professional, and then you should go for that problem or the sector. But it's not only about the problem or the sector, it's also about the team in which you are working. It's also about a lot of other parameters as well. So choose based on whatever will make you happy.
I think I have a very good litmus test for this, which I typically do. I typically ask myself, if everything is taken away from me, compensation, title, everything, and this is the problem, if I have to rank these 5 problems on which I will still choose to work, right? That's typically the problem statement that I
That's a good way to solve.
Yes. So if you take away all compensation, that nobody's paying me any money, nobody's giving me the title that I want, these are the 5 problems. Which problem would I still want to work on? That is typically, that's again, it's a directional indicator. Don't make it your proper structure of decision making, but it's a directional indicator. That's how I typically look at it.
How to start something of your own. And I see you have been moving firms like I have done. Is there something which would have come in your lifetime, and how, if something you would like to do, how would you cope up? I think that's something I would love to hear from you.
Okay, so is your question about going to entrepreneurship at some stage of the career?
That's the question. That how would you cope up with
with something of your own, right? Like you have been also associated with big
What's
firms.
Lijo's take on entrepreneurship? That's what Deepak is.
Yeah.
At least he'll not be as poor as I am, for sure.
Yeah.
That is for sure, I'm telling you. That's the one insight that I can give you, Deepak, today.
Yeah, so I told you about the other 4 product managers in Rediff who were along with me. All of them are entrepreneurs now. I'm the only one who is still, doing product management because I really like it. But going forward, that is one option that I would surely want to, explore. I'm pretty excited about it. If we can do it. See, I worked on so many sectors, so much of experience. And with AI coming in, it's a new technology that has come in, which is disproportionately giving opportunities for product managers. Everywhere you see a potential, product that can be solved with or without AI. So that's something that all the product managers, I believe, are like cut out for being entrepreneurs. That is an option that you should surely explore at one point or the other.
And if I may ask a little more, among your circle, which you mentioned moved as entrepreneur, what are the quick qualities you would have admired, which is why they moved there?
So I would say that they were like risk takers, and they were like pretty bored with whatever was the problem that they were working at that point of time.
Okay. Yeah, that's helpful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I'm still not bored with the problems that I'm working on.
Before we end the session, thank you very much. This means so much. I think everyone learned so much. Ek cheez karna janta. This is very important. This is for you also to learn. Whatever you learn from the session, I want you to write, tag Lijo, right, on LinkedIn. 2-3 हजार फॉलोअर तो बढ़ा देने चाहिए यार आपको. मतलब इतना तो बेयर मिनिमम, इतना टाइम दिया आपको लिजो ने, और मेरे बारे में भी बताया कि भाई मैं कैसा प्रोडक्ट मैनेजर था. तो that is really important. That's your learning as a gratitude. And second thing, after this session, both on the Slack group as well as the WhatsApp channel, please give feedback of the session. That will be really good for Lijo के लिए भी अच्छा होगा, और ये आपके साइड से भी होगा. It's a gratitude for the speaker to have spent so much time with you. Other than that, once again, Lijo, this means so much.
Yeah. Thank you, Shravan, and all the best to each of you. So you have made a conscious decision to be a product manager. It's a tough job, but very enjoyable and fun job as you go along. The initial part is the toughest part. It is going to be like a startup, but if you thrive, it is going to be really, satisfying is what I would say as a career. So all the best to each of you, and please do feel to connect on LinkedIn.
100%.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
All the best.
Thanks,
Thanks
Lijo.
a lot. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.